If you have ever sat down with a notebook, probably in a coffee shop, let's be honest, to write down your ideas, your goals, everything that you want to achieve in your business, and you maybe in that moment felt really good and felt really excited, but you shut that notebook and then months later rediscovered it or remembered it and thought, oh, what happened with those goals? That's not quite come to life in the way that I thought I would. If that feels familiar, this episode is for you because I'm going to be walking you through my tried and very much tested framework to stop ghosting your goals and make sure that what you want in your business turns into reality. The biggest thing that I hear from people is that trend where we have the vision, we have the goals, we have the exciting moment where we think about what we want to achieve, and then nothing really happens after that. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes what happens afterwards is just quite an overwhelming process, right? We've set these big goals, we've got these exciting things, and then we don't really consider what happens next. So we set ourselves up for implementation and growth that can feel quite overwhelming, quite sticky, a little bit kind of like we're just figuring it out as we go. If any of that resonates, then this is the episode for you because the A/B method, let me tell you, it works. The A/B method, if you're not familiar, is something that I developed. It must be about 7-8 years ago now in business. And it's an approach that I initially created just for myself. I was earlier on in my business journey and feeling incredibly overwhelmed. I knew that I needed to connect more to my vision. I knew that I needed to work on my business more, but I just found that really hard to do without any sense of structure. I quit school because I wanted to start a business, but I remember in that moment thinking back to school and being like, I miss the structure. I miss someone telling me what to do. I miss there being a kind of wider curriculum to fit myself into. And the A/B method was born out of me just thinking, well, how do I make that for myself? If I know that it's working on my business that's going to create growth, but working on my business feels quite overwhelming, hard to prioritize, uncertain what it actually means, how do I create some structure? Enter the A/B method. As I said, originally something I just used for myself, but very quickly started to realize, hey, this is simple, but it really works. So I developed it in a more formal way, called it the A/B method. A, because I'm AB and I made it. B, because it helps you get from A to B. Get it? Very smart. And used it with my clients. Over the years, hundreds of people have used the A/B method. And more recently, with my program on it, 150 plus business owners spent the whole of 2025 following this method. So when I tell you that it's tried and tested, when I tell you that it works, that is not based off of a vibe, an assumption, a feeling. I'm not using myself as a case study of one. The A/B method is such a simple but proven approach to working on your business and breaking your goals down into genuine progress. Now, I'm going to say before I even dive into what this approach and method is, if you just want to dive straight in and like really start to implement this method and make this a part of your business, then I have just created and launched a free 3-part series called Clear the Path. It's designed to help you quite literally clear the path between you and your vision in your business. And it will help you to not just understand, but also embed this method. There's already over 200 business owners that have enrolled and taken part in it. And the feedback so far has been amazing. So that will be linked in the show notes wherever you're tuning into this. It'll also help give you a taster of On It and make sure that you're first in line when the doors open in 3 weeks' time. Oh my gosh, 3 weeks today when this episode comes out. On It 2026 is launching, which is so exciting. So yeah, just to say up front, if you haven't yet seen Clear the Path, my free series, make sure to go see it and sign up because it is incredibly valuable and really takes what I'm discussing in this episode deeper and helps you embed it in your business. Because learning is step one, but it's embedding and actioning things that really matters. So let's get into the A/B method. Like many things, it works in the power of threes. It is 3 steps which really simplifies the 3 core areas of working on your business. Put simply, if you do these 3 things, if you work in these 3 areas consistently, not perfectly, but as consistently as you can, you will see growth. And you won't just see growth, you'll see growth that is relevant to you, i.e. not just shiny growth for the sake of it, but growth that actually matters for your vision and your version of success. But alongside that, you will get to that growth in a way that is more easeful, more intentional, and likely in a shorter time frame as well than you would have otherwise. The A/B method isn't just used by people that, haven't made growth in their business before. In fact, everyone that uses the AB method is already up and running in their business. So they've already created success and growth. That's not the problem. The problem is a lot of the time when we're not following a structure, that growth can feel really overwhelming, time consuming. We can waste a lot of time doing the wrong things or just trying to work it out as we go. So this method won't just help you get to your goals, but it will help get you there in less time with more ease, which, hello, is something I know we're all interested in. So let's dive into the 3 steps of the AB method. And I'm hoping that as I'm explaining each step, you can start to reflect on whether this is something you do in your business, and perhaps whether there's an invitation for you to do this step more intentionally, or maybe notice as I'm explaining the step what mistakes you typically make here that you could then learn from and do differently moving forwards. So the first step of the AB method is all about clarifying your vision. Without vision, working on your business is, quite frankly, completely irrelevant, because working on your business is all about getting you towards your vision. When I say vision, I don't want you to think here that that has to mean your 5-year plan or exactly what you want to do in your business in the future or what your exit strategy is. Your vision gets to be as vague or as clear as it is. And vision is simply about where you're going and why. When I invite you to think about your vision, what I'm inviting you to think about is what is important to you about how your business grows. It is so easy to drop into a mindset of just growth for growth's sake. Bigger is better. Keep going, keep doing more. And I think it's really important as business owners, especially when we might not one day have this big exit where we make a load of money and it all becomes worth it, to really question what makes it worth it now. What do I want from my business? How do I want my business to serve me? What is important to me about the way my business looks, feels, runs? When we're capturing vision in the AB method, it's not about a rigid 5-year plan. It's about creating this feeling of a North Star where you know where you're going, and then all of your action can be aligned with that. The truth about vision is that it's always evolving, it's always changing. We need to come back to it regularly because the more action you take, the more you learn. And the second thing that I think is really important to consider here with our vision is that it's narrow and it's aligned. I am not interested in you pursuing growth for the sake of growth. I'm interested in you pursuing growth that is relevant and exciting for you. In my program On It, I often say the phrase of your vision is the vision, and you know your business best. It is not about what others in your industry are doing or what you should be achieving. It's about what you want. And narrow vision is so key here. When we try and do too much, often we end up doing nothing because we enter into a cycle of overwhelm, and then we feel stuck, and then we feel bad about ourselves, and then we don't achieve anything. Less is more when it comes to vision, and being laser focused is going to create more action, more momentum, and then actually allow you to do more in the long term anyway. So that's the first step of the AB method, clarifying your vision. And the way that we do that in On It, in my program, but also with my clients in my own business, is we set yearly intentions. These yearly intentions that capture, right, where do I want to be at the end of this year? What's important to me about my growth? Your vision is not, I want to make this much money or win this award. It's how do I want my business to grow? What changes do I want to see made? How do I want my business to look and feel different in 12 months' time? So that's the first step of the AB method. It's that North Star vision that really guides the next 2 steps that follow. The second step of the AB method is then about setting strategic goals. I feel really passionately that goals should not be what you want. They should be your stepping stones to getting to what you want. I know that's a bit of a different way of looking at goals than sometimes what we hear online, but I don't believe that when we sit down at the start of a quarter or in a new week or a new year to set goals, we should be thinking about what we want to achieve. I don't think goals are about the results. I think goals are the actions, the progress that lead to that result. When we're setting strategic goals, what we're doing is reverse engineering that vision. If the vision is to have a business that is more streamlined in terms of its operations, your goals might be to hire certain team members or to bring in a new system or to automate something in order to move towards that bigger vision. Or to give another example, if your vision is all about your reputation, being known for something, changing the way that you're perceived, okay, your smaller goals might be more about your content strategy, starting a podcast, getting out in the world in terms of networking, shifting your messaging. It's the tangible goalposts which when added together will get you to that bigger vision. In Onnit, the way that I teach this is that we set quarterly goals. So for every 3 months, we have goals that are directly linked to that big vision. We break those yearly intentions down so that we don't just know where we want to be, but every quarter we invite ourselves to work out how we're going to get there. Right, in the next 3 months, what am I going to do to get towards that bigger vision? And when it comes to strategic goals, what's most important here is that they feel really aligned with that vision. We don't just set goals for the sake of it, because quite frankly, then we're going to waste our energy and time or not even want to achieve the goals in the first place. But secondly, we want to make sure that our goals feel realistic. I really believe that we need to be overambitious with the big vision, but boringly realistic with the short-term plans. That is the magic. That is when a business grows. When we have big vision that feels super stretchy and a little bit almost, oh my gosh, can we ever do that? But then our shorter-term plans, our goals, our action plans are really doable. When we are overambitious with our short-term planning, we usually just set ourselves up for a cycle of frustration and disappointment. And that's not fun for anyone. That is not something that helps with growth. So these quarterly goals, this second step in the AB method, is all about that realistic action plan. How am I going to get towards that bigger vision? And that then tees us up for the third, final, but most important step of the AB method, which is action and tracking. If you do the first 2 steps, if you have vision and if you have goals, but you do nothing after that, you have wasted your time. I say that with love because I don't want you to waste your time. The third step of the AB method, where you take action and you track your progress, is where the growth sits. Setting goals will not grow your business. Casting vision will not grow your business. Taking messy, daily, bitty action towards those things, that is what creates growth. And that is what this third step is all about. It's creating those smaller action plans. It's setting yourself up every day, every week to know what you're going to do to get towards those goals. What we're doing in the AB method is basically going from the big vision to the daily to-do list, right? If every day you chip away at your quarterly goals and your quarterly goals are aligned with your big vision, hey presto, your daily action is now linking with the big vision. And that is what it takes to grow. When the thing on your to-do list today is linked with the big vision you have for the year, you will see growth in your business. And that is what the AB method really helps you to do. This third step is both about taking the action, but it's also about tracking and monitoring progress. So many business owners, and I'd be confident to say most business owners here, do not track in a valuable way. They might fill out a spreadsheet or they might look at some numbers and feel like they've ticked the box of tracking. But I really believe there's a big bit of learning that we can take on a regular basis when we look at the data. And we don't just put it in a spreadsheet and make a fancy graph and feel like we've done the job, but we really learn from the data. We question it, we reflect on it. I don't really care if you have a spreadsheet with all of your statistics in. I don't think that's the valuable part. I think the valuable part is the reflection, the questioning, the learning. Your business is always teaching you. Your action is full of clarity, but are you looking for the clarity? Are you listening to the lessons? This third and final step of the AB method is really what helps us then to keep growing as we move forwards. Because when we take action, we learn. When we pick up those learnings, the vision gets clearer, the goals get better. You can see how it's less of a 3-step method and actually more of a cycle where we continually move through these 3 stages. Loosely, we think about our vision being something we look at, for a year, our goals being things that we set for the quarter, and then that action and that tracking, that's daily, weekly, monthly. That's the stuff we're doing on an ongoing basis. So those 3 steps, the AB method, where you have clear vision, strategic goals, and then you're taking action and tracking. If you're doing those 3 things as persistently and consistently as you can in your business, you will see growth. And you won't just see growth for the sake of it. You will grow in areas that are important to you. You won't feel overwhelmed by a long list of ideas and goals. You won't ghost your goals by putting them in a notebook and then leaving them there. You will move your business forwards in a direction that is meaningful to you. Now, as I say that, let me underline that with, and it will still feel messy, and it will be imperfect. The AB method is not about perfect execution. In fact, I think about this phrase a lot with the AB method, where it's the perfect method, imperfectly executed. The AB method is not about being a perfect business owner and working on your business every single day and always having the capacity for this and never slipping and never losing consistency. In fact, I never think of it like that because we're humans. We will lose consistency. Our ability to work on our business is going to ebb and flow. This method isn't about constantly doing these things, but instead having the structure so that when we're ready to, when we need to kind of bounce back, get back on it, we know what to do next. As I mentioned towards the start of this episode, if this is resonating and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I want to embed this a bit more, I want to learn more, go and check out my free 3-part series, Clear the Path. The second part of it especially is going to help you to do some vision exercises to actually start to embed that first step that I talked about. And it's really going to give you space to reflect on how this could sit for your business, what this method could mean for you and for your growth. This AB method is quite literally what my program On It is built around. So by joining that free series, you're also going to be joining the waitlist. You'll be first in line for when doors open in just a few weeks' time. And you're going to be hearing a lot about On It in the next few weeks because let me tell you, I believe in it. It works. I'm starting to look at the data and the results of the students that have been in it this year. And it's incredible. It's done exactly what it said on the tin. It's helped people to grow in a direction. It's helped people to achieve their goals, move their business towards their vision with more ease in less time. They feel accountable, they feel supported, they feel less overwhelmed, and they're actually moving their business forwards. And let me tell you, that is something that I read in these feedback forms, and it just makes it all meaningful for me because that is what this work is about. That is why I made the AB method for myself many, many years ago, and why I'm so passionate about sharing it with others. Whether you've heard of this method before and maybe this episode's helped you to think about it fresh and embed it again in your business, or whether this is your first time hearing about it, I'd really encourage you to reflect on how this method lands for you. What could this method look like in the context of your business? It's not one size fits all. It's going, great, here's the structure, here's the steps. How could this look for you? How could this work in your business? I just want to reiterate what I said earlier, that it's not about following this perfectly, right? No one teaches us this stuff. It's really hard to work on your business for and by yourself. There's a reason why my job exists, and that's because we don't start a business to do these things. No one teaches us to cast vision, to set strategic goals. We don't necessarily have a skill set around tracking data or looking at progress. But that's why my business exists. That's why something like On It exists. That's why the AB method exists, is because this stuff, it might be simple, but it's not necessarily easy. So give yourself compassion. Think about how this could look for you, what it might look like to move forwards with the AB method in your business. And as mentioned, make sure to sign up to that free 3-part series, Clear the Path. The link will be wherever you are listening or tuning into this. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening, because there's some really juicy episodes coming over the next few weeks. And launch day of On It is in 3 weeks' time. So you best believe there are some very exciting things on the way. All right, that's it for this episode. I will catch you in the next one, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing more about the AB method.